The dust starts to settle on what remains of the Trudeau government. This is Now You Know. I'm Rob Snow.
All the news you need to know.
This is Now You Know with Rob Snow on News Radio.
Listening to Prime Minister Trudeau, you would swear it was just another day at the office.
I cannot emphasize enough just how damn proud I am of what we have done over the past 9 years, and it's because of you. Because of volunteers, community leaders, and donors. Because of every single person who has stepped up for this cause, for this movement, for this party.
Prime Minister Justin Trudeau last night in Gatineau, Quebec, at a holiday party for the well-heeled donors to the Liberal Party of Canada, members of the Laurier Club. They were his first public remarks since the stunning resignation of Chrystia Freeland, Canada's finance minister. Her name didn't come up. But Pierre Poilievre's name sure did, as Trudeau went into campaign mode, even as the Prime Minister fights for his own political life.
As we saw with his opposition to our GST tax break, he's opposed to even cutting taxes. That's a given with the Conservative Party. But what makes Poilievre different is that he's willing to actively bet against Canadians and Canada. He says Canada is broken while actually trying his damnedest to break it. See, we're not living in simple times. The world is increasingly complex, unstable, and dangerous. And in this new global reality, we must all pull together.
Chrystia Freeland resigned over Mr. Trudeau's 2-month GST holiday and for planning to send $250 one-time payments to millions of Canadians in the new year. In her letter of resignation to the Prime Minister, she called those measures costly political gimmicks. And now she's not the finance minister. This person is sworn in yesterday, one of Justin Trudeau's closest friends, someone he has known since childhood. The New Brunswick MP, Dominic LeBlanc.
So I guess I'll start early in the morning and work late at night and probably won't take a lot of weekends off. It's an exciting time to have those responsibilities. I don't diminish for a minute the work that's before our government. The good news is I have colleagues and officials that will support me. I'm confident that Canadians will see a government focused on their priorities. And as I said, it's the cost of living challenges they're facing. And the relationship with the United States is obviously a huge focus.
Dominic LeBlanc is now in charge of 3 portfolios. He's the finance minister, he's the public safety minister, and he's also the Minister of Intergovernmental Affairs. And don't let the spin at the top fool you. Yesterday was far from an ordinary day. It was so extraordinary that Donald Trump felt the need to troll both Justin Trudeau and Chrystia Freeland on social media. Once more, the incoming U.S. president called Prime Minister Trudeau a governor, and he said Chrystia Freeland was totally toxic and wouldn't be missed. And then there are the growing number of lesser-known Liberal MPs who think Mr. Trudeau's time is up. MPs like Chad Collins from the Stony Creek, Hamilton area of Ontario.
James Maloney says that Cox is united behind the Prime Minister. Is that correct?
No.
He says that. Can you just pause for a second to explain?
Can you describe this meeting? Can you characterize the meeting?
I'm not going to breach confidentiality in terms of what happened in caucus, but I can say we're not united. There's still a number of our members who feel we need a change in leadership. I'm one of those. We fear what a Make Canada Great Again agenda from Mr. Poilievre means to our constituents. And I think the only path forward for us is to choose a new leader and present a new plan to Canadians with a different vision.
How many MPs? Give a scale.
How many?
You say some of your MPs. How many?
One of the reasons that this Liberal government is still in power is because of ongoing support from the NDP. NDP leader Jagmeet Singh has called on the Prime Minister to resign, but continues to refuse to say if he would ever vote to bring the Liberals down and trigger an election.
Sir, that room behind you is a parliament. The government continues to govern as long as MPs continue to have confidence in the government. You have no say over who the leader of the Liberal Party is. Will you support the government, or are you withdrawing your support from the government?
With respect to that, I've said that all options are on the table. That means everything is possible. But what is clear, given what we have seen, Justin Trudeau and a Liberal government that are focused on themselves, they are infighting at a time when people cannot even do their groceries. They can't even find homes that are affordable.
As for the leader of the official opposition, the Conservative Party leader, Pierre Poilievre, he's ready to go to the polls now, even if it means an election campaign during the holidays.
Do you think today is not their Christmas holiday to be interrupted by a federal election campaign?
I think our right now Canadians' Christmas holidays are being interrupted by the NDP Liberal hell they're living under. Lining up 2 million people at food banks, 1,400 homeless encampments, a doubling of gun crime, the worst inflation in 40 years, our 6 consecutive quarters of shrinking per capita GDP, $500 billion of investment leaving for the United States. Parents are tossing and turning at night because we have the most indebted households by far in the G7. That's the real hell that is interrupting people's Christmas spirit right now.
By the way, there was a fall economic statement released yesterday. The government's House leader, Karina Gould, delivered it and then walked away. No questions, no debate. The government ran a $62 billion deficit. And as of right now, there's little to no indication any of this will lead to Justin Trudeau's resignation. This is the last day of MPs in the House of Commons for this year. And barring something unforeseen, MPs won't be back in Ottawa until late January. I'm Rob Snow. This is Now You Know. This is News Radio.
Now You Know with Rob Snow continues on News Radio.
Well, it's the day after, so let's get right to our next guest. He's here with us every week to offer his take on the big news stories of the week, and this has been a big news week, and it's only Tuesday. Professor Ian Lee is with us from the Sprott School of Business at Carleton University. Hi there.
Good afternoon, Rob.
Yeah, very good to hear from you. So, pretty big. Chrystia Freeland resigning as the Minister of Finance and, throwing bombs on her way out the door. What'd you think of it all?
I wasn't shocked because you could see the split or the fissure emerging between the two of them. And B, I'm a big believer in teaching strategy for 35 years. You look at the trend data. You don't look at single point data. Single point is a single instance, a single inflation point for 1 month, or one GDP point, or one decision by one politician. You look at a trend line of multiple decision points, multiple trends, multiple data points. And Trudeau has fired a remarkable number of cabinet ministers, strong, capable cabinet ministers. The strongest 3 females in his cabinet in the 9 years he's been in office. He fired each one of them. And Jane Philpott, and the remarkable woman who was the first Indigenous Justice Minister. He also fired Morneau. He got rid of the space astronaut,
Marc Garneau, yeah.
Marc Garneau. You look at the people he fired. He didn't fire his weakest cabinet ministers. He has a trend, a habit in his 9 years in office of firing his strongest and most competent and qualified cabinet ministers. So it wasn't a surprise. It was a surprise that he did it in such a... You would think that after 9 years in office as Prime Minister, he would learn on the job. And I mean that. It's not an unfair statement. Calling the person in, any person, any employee, before they're about to deliver something very important for you, and calling them in 3 days before and say, by the way, when you finish doing this very important job, I'm firing you. You don't need to have a PhD in political science or in business administration to know that that's really dumb. It's really, and it just shows...
Okay.
Okay, I'm going to be really blunt, and I've been saying this for a long time in various words. He was never fit to be Prime Minister. And this isn't a partisan attack on the Liberal Party. There's lots of very good people in the Liberal Party. This is about him uniquely Justin Trudeau. And
he's won 3 elections, so...
I'm sorry?
He's won 3 elections.
He He has, but you know, I think he won the first election because he was the son of Pierre Trudeau, who millions of Canadians admired, and I was one of them. I always said that Pierre Trudeau was a brilliant individual, highly skilled, highly trained, highly educated, really smart individual, and a very successful prime minister. Okay. And he got there on his inheritance, basically. And he actually said, Justin Trudeau said many times, "I'm very privileged." And he was born into 24 Sussex. And, you know, you look at his record, once he got in, his record went down from there.
Okay.
He won minority governments after that.
Okay, I want to ask you, Chrystia Freeland called the things like the GST holiday, the $250 giveaway gimmicks. Costly political gimmicks. What did you think of that? You must have agreed with that.
Well, I thought it before she said it. I mean, this was, $6 billion, the various gimmicks in, to do what? To give 60 days of relief? And it was designed not to turn around the economy. Everybody understands that, because it wasn't going to turn around the economy. It was done I think it was Andrew Coyne or somebody said, and I like the line, he's now at the point, these are Hail Mary passes, to use the football analogy. He's just throwing spaghetti at the wall and hoping and praying some of it sticks and moves the needle on his minus 22 points. He's down 22 points. I don't think it will, but that's why he's doing it. It's nothing to do with what's good for Canada. It's not what's good for the economy or good for people that are struggling. It's all about one person and only one person, saving Justin Trudeau.
There was a fall economic statement yesterday. I must ask you, there was this guardrail in place of $40 billion. The deficit will not exceed $40 billion. That was the target just 8 months ago. Yeah. The number comes in and it's $62 billion, and some in the commentary class are saying, well, there are one-time items there for things like Indigenous court settlements and things like that. Can that
excuse it?
Excuse it? No. Okay.
No.
Why
not?
I'll
tell you why.
All right.
And I really, not you, that type of commentary really, really offends me and irritates me.
Why?
Well, this happened and that happened, and, there was a hurricane, or maybe there was fires in Alberta and that sort of thing. People say, well, that explains it. No, it doesn't. No, it does not. Because in that $500 billion of annual spending by the government of Canada, just because you have to spend new money on something, which I don't dispute, something comes up, you have to spend money on it. That does not mean that you must automatically add it to whatever money is currently being expended. You can go through, once upon a time, Jimmy Carter, of all people, it was called ZBB, zero-based budgeting. Any new spending had to be offset by a cancellation or reduction of existing spending. And it's a decent, good operational principle. It was reenacted or brought up to date by Jean Chrétien and Paul Martin. They didn't call it zero-based budgeting. They called it strategic program review. And they went through and said, well, let's parrot out programs that are not working to free up money for new initiatives. And this government, I've never seen them cut anything. Absolutely nothing. Everything is a net addition to current spending. I do not believe in $500 billion that every last program is just doing wonderful, wonderful things. There's, in fact, I watched David Dodge just in June of this year on a podcast with David Rosenberg. He and John Manley and David Dodge were reminiscing and talking about the 1995 downsizing. And Dodge said, it was very clear what we did. He says, we classified every last government program in existence into one of three categories. Absolutely must have and must continue to maintain it, like old age pension.
Okay, very quickly.
And then another was nice to have but not essential. And the third category, which was the low-hanging fruit, was these programs are not working and there's no justification for them being on the books anyways.
Right.
So he said we cut all those first, and then we had to go into the second category. They have not. That idea is alien to Justin Trudeau.
Okay.
The idea that you would actually review your programs and categorize them into, must cut, maybe not cut, and those that cannot be cut.
Okay.
It's a very basic classification principle, and that's absolutely foreign to his way of thinking.
Okay, we'll be right back. Ian Lee is with us, professor of management, Carleton University, the Sprott School there. I'm Rob Snow. This is News Radio.
There is no question Rob won't get answered.
Now You Know with Rob Snow continues
on News Radio.
Back with Professor Ian Lee from the Sprott School of Business, Carleton University. I should mention our dollar is down 0.5% today, down 35 basis points, 69.83 cents U.S., Professor.
Yeah.
Okay.
The markets are, I've argued this for 30-odd years, 40 years, and it's most people don't look at it like this, but I do. The exchange rate is really a barometer or a thermometer, I'm not sure which metaphor to use, of the overall health and direction of the economy of any country. So when you see an economy with a currency appreciating, as Japan was doing in the 70s and the 80s, it just kept going up, up, up. Same with the Deutschmark in those days. Well, why was the currency of those two countries climbing year after year after year? Because they were just booming. Their economies were booming. And when you see a country, for example, Venezuela or Argentina, where the currency continuously declines over long periods of time. Why is that? Because the economy is very, very weak. And so when the currency is going down, that means more people want to sell Canadian dollars than want to buy Canadian dollars. Well, why would that be? Because they want to get out of Dodge, to use slang, ordinary English. More people are trying to sell their dollars because they're saying, you know what, I want out of here. Yes, you can say there's tourism, but tourism doesn't move the needle on an economy that's $2.5 trillion.
Okay.
And there's tourists coming in, tourists going out, and that's small change. But when you see an economy where the currency is declining, it's because there's investment movement. Investor capital is moving out, not in. Okay. And so that's a sign of, large investors saying, you know what, this country is not relatively as attractive. I'm not suggesting we're going to collapse.
Okay. We only have a minute left. I have to ask you this one question. Was Chrystia Freeland a good finance minister or not?
No. No, she wasn't. And I respect her for what she did.
Yeah.
And I think she was a much better external affairs minister. But the reason why, if you look, her name was on, forget this budget, go and look over the list of the time she was there at finance.
Yeah.
And there was an awful lot of frivolous spending, increasing emphasis on consumption, not investment. And this is straight out of David Dodge's lips. The same with John Manley. But I also agree. And so she was not a great minister. She was, I think, her problem was she only found her backbone at the very end. And she was too, she wanted to run one day for prime minister, and so she didn't want to alienate the guy at the top, which I sort of understand.
Okay.
But I don't think you can do that. I don't think you can fetter your discretion and say, you know what, I'm going to do things I don't agree with or believe in just because I don't want to alienate the person above me because I want his job one day. And I don't think you can do that because, the karma, it'll come back and get you.
Okay. What a 24 hours that was, wasn't it? Crazy.
Amazing.
Yeah,
amazing.
Okay.
I do believe,
we'll speak soon.
Ask me, I do believe this is going to be the end of Mr. Trudeau. I think in the next 1, 2, 3 weeks, there's more shoes to drop.
Okay.
As more MPs come out of the closet.
We'll see.
Maybe the opposition will say we're going to defeat him. But I think he'll be gone as the leader. He'll have announced he's stepping down by the middle of January.
We'll see.
Yep.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thanks. Bye.
Professor Ian Lee from Carleton University on News Radio.
You have questions.
Now You Know with Rob Snow has the answers.
On News Radio, the Newsday panel.
And the gang is all here. It's an Atlantic Canadian edition of the Newsday panel today. With Tim Powers, Chair of Summa Strategies, Managing Director, Abacus Data. Hi there.
What are you at, buddy?
Saw you on the TV yesterday there, man. And Jordan Paquette, Senior Consultant, Blue Sky Strategy Group from the third best island in Atlantic Canada. How are you?
I used to be second best, but no, I'm still going to claim as the best. Rob, how's it going?
Anybody get any sleep last night?
We probably slept more soundly than Justin Trudeau did, I would say. Hey, Jordan, if I'm Justin Trudeau, I'm sleeping with at least one eye open and being fully aware that my time is likely very limited.
Yeah, oh, absolutely. I mean, like, I was up too late refreshing some of the by-election results.
Oh, yes.
And if
You stayed up for that?
I did, and if Justin
Holy
Trudeau was
cow.
up watching it, that was another blow to him as well.
Yeah, no, man.
Obviously, we knew Conservatives were going to win it, but with 60-some% of the vote.
66% of the vote.
Yeah, I mean, come on, like, ain't a liberal-held riding.
That was incredible. Okay. So now that everybody has had a chance to sleep and kind of think about yesterday's blockbuster of a news day, what are your reflections, Tim Powers, on what transpired with Freeland's departure?
I don't think it's an understatement to say that it was seismic. And I've not seen anything like that. Rob, you and I have been talking politics for a long time in Ottawa.
Yeah.
We have lived through the Martin Chrétien stuff when Mr. Martin walked away from his role on a Sunday afternoon. We were there when Belinda crossed the floor to help the same Mr. Martin hold the government. We went through all of the, conservative permutations of who's up and who's down, but can't think of a time, and I don't think there is one, where on the same day that the government is supposed to deliver one of its, anchor policy elements, a federal economic statement, that the person who is supposed to deliver it resigns that morning and in her letter of resignation condemns the Prime Minister for his gimmicky approaches, not being serious enough, and this is not an insubstantial player. This is a deputy prime minister who had in June stood up for him and said no, he should be leader. So seismic, and though the government's trying to get back to normal, I don't know how they do.
Okay. Jordan?
Yeah, and let's not forget, after all of that happened, after she basically publicly slighted the Prime Minister, walked into the Liberal caucus and got a reportedly a standing ovation that night. That just doesn't happen in the history of Canadian politics. I still can't understand, after reading now all the reports and the insider stuff from yesterday, what the Prime Minister was thinking to tell her on Friday that she wants, or he wants her out as finance
You're going to read this and then we're going to move you.
And by the way, I know you don't like what's in this fall economic statement. You've tried to fight me on it. So you know what? You're going to go up and stand in the House and sell this, publicly defend it, and then after that, you're done. So I mean, I don't know what else he was saying, and then PMO was simply shocked by the idea on Friday. Now I'm hearing from people that it could have gone a bit differently than part of how that was reported. But if so, they've done a terrible job trying to tell their side of the story. I mean, they basically hid the Prime Minister all day yesterday, trotted him out at a donor's reception.
Can I just pick up on something Jordan said there? Look, not only did he didn't tell her in person, he didn't tell her in a phone call. He told her from Zoom.
I know.
The three of us are from Atlantic Canada. Can you imagine somebody who has been by your side for years, who has been wounded for you, and the courtesy you extend is a Zoom call? I mean, there's just a whole element of missing how to run a team and human relations and these things, and you expect this person who is smart, proud, and determined, as Jordan was suggesting, he's just going to sit quietly and say, okay, sure, boss, you're going to give me a portfolio without a department, and I'll read the statement for you on Monday. What a huge miscalculation.
Okay.
Well, he has a very clearly he has a very short fuse, especially when it comes to being challenged by women. I mean, look what happened to Jody Wilson-Raybould back then. Selena Cesar-Chavez. I mean,
Jane Philpott
on the media, right? Jane Philpott.
I mean, now Catherine McKenna, his first Minister of the Environment, also recruited by Justin Trudeau to win a key riding in downtown Ottawa. A more true believer in the fight against climate change you will not find. In Catherine McKenna is saying every single Liberal MP should vote to oust Trudeau. This is what he has done now. I just wonder, is Chrystia Freeland's shoe the last shoe to drop? Is it the start of something else? Does it snowball? Could there be more resignations, for example? I mean, there are all kinds of rumors. Ottawa thrives on rumors. Could there be more resignations, for example? What do you think, Tim?
Well, I mean, there were certainly, I'm sure Jordan heard them too, rumors of 3-4 different ministers yesterday. I think he wants to try and bring about calm, but he does have to do a couple of things that are also key to whether he resigns or not. He does have to put in a cabinet. I mean, as much as I like Dominic LeBlanc and admire he's from Atlantic Canada, Dominic can't be the minister of every portfolio. So they do have to fix that.
They're trying.
They're trying. So he needs to shuffle the cabinet, and he clearly is heading for a prorogation. He goes back in January, he will lose whatever confidence vote he has. So those two things probably have to happen first before he decides to resign or tell the public that he's deciding to resign. But I just can't see how he thinks he can go into an election. Hubris aside, ego aside, all leaders have it. Mr. Trudeau has it in significant doses. How he can somehow put his team back on side and go out and compete in an election in the state that the Liberal Party is currently in.
Jordan?
Yeah, absolutely. He's very delusional if he thinks that that's the case. I think maybe the current angle of him right now would be, okay, let's go into the holidays, let everybody chill out a bit and reset. Yeah. But he's tried that strategy before, and he's completely running out of time now. Now he does have some cabinet positions to dangle in front of some of his backbenchers, but at the same time, leadership policies. I think a good chunk of the caucus, most of them, whether they're going to publicly back him or not, they know that his time as prime minister is done within the next few months or the next election. So, they're going to start to jockey around for leadership positions.
All right, okay.
Right now, and so that's exactly like Freeland doing what she did yesterday. I think she is starting to position herself to run
for sure
leader, and I think some other ministers are going to have to start to make a calculation soon as well. Do I want to be sinking down with the ship, or do I want to go out on my own here soon?
Okay, I'll have to keep an eye on the New York Times, I guess. I'm Rob Snow. Be right back. It's our Newsday panel today, Jordan Pickett and Tim Powers. This is News Radio.
No question goes unasked or unanswered.
Now You Know with Rob Snow returns on News Radio.
We're back with Tim Powers, Chair at Summa Strategies, Jordan Pickett, Senior Consultant, Blue Sky Strategy Group. So on Truth Social yesterday, President-elect Trump said this: the great state of Canada is stunned as the finance minister resigns or is fired from her position by Governor Justin Trudeau. Her behavior was totally toxic and not at all conducive to making deals, which are good for the very unhappy citizens of Canada. She will not be missed. Or is it she will not be missed? Exclamation point, exclamation point, exclamation point. Mr. Poilievre, Pierre Poilievre, leader of the Conservative Party, he is in Mississauga right now, as a matter of fact, taking some questions from the media. He was asked about this Trump posting on social media. This is what Mr. Poilievre said.
And there is the national humiliation of the President of the United States laughing at our weak, pathetic Prime Minister. What an embarrassment to all Canadians. Canadians are good, proud, decent people. We, as a country, were admired in this world before Justin Trudeau and the NDP Liberal government.
Okay. What do you think about Trump's trolling of both Trudeau and Freeland? I mean, he's not doing this to the Mexican leader, I must point out. He's doing it to Trudeau and Freeland. What do you think, Jordan?
Yeah, I think he's definitely having a bit of fun late at night. I think he does all his work during the day, and then at night he says, "Oh, watch this! I'm going to send this out and see how Justin reacts." It's kind of like a cat playing with its prey before it finally eats it. I mean, he's completely trolling him, and he is just laughing at his expense. Whether he's using this as a negotiating tactic or not, I'm not totally sure. But yeah, he's totally just trolling him. I think he sees the writing on the wall and what's going to potentially happen. Trudeau coming out last week at that Equal Voice event, taking a shot at Trump was probably one of the dumbest things he could have did that particular week. Because he knows it's going to get back to him. So no, he's completely trolling him. It's unfortunate, but it's a position that Trudeau's put himself in now.
Okay, Tim?
Yeah, don't disagree with anything that Jordan said there, but I'd add this. It is a bit annoying, right? he's the guy who keeps telling a joke that was funny the first time, and it keeps going and going and going and going. I kind of like to whack him upside the head, but I don't want to get arrested for assault. The other thing I would say is it is somewhat concerning as it relates to Trump, that this is how we're going to, regardless of how he feels about Trudeau or any world leader, this now passes for how we do international diplomacy. There's a bigger worry there, I think, about how free-ranging Donald Trump may be in his new return to power with only 4 years to go. But yeah, he certainly likes to prey on people who are on the way down. On Freeland, maybe it's not a bad thing for her. In fact, if she decides to run for leader, it'll probably be a very good thing for her that Donald Trump has described her in which the manner that she has, because it may suggest she actually got some things done when they were doing the Kuzma negotiations. So she's probably the happiest with those tweets.
Okay. If you were a gambler, Jordan, where would you place your bet? Trudeau stays or Trudeau goes?
We'll have to talk to Jagmeet Singh about that towards the end of February when his pension kicks in. No, look, if there's one more leader in a weaker position right now, in a position of weakness right now, it would be Jagmeet Singh. I'm gonna take a bet then. I'm gonna say that Trudeau does manage to just drag on. Jagmeet's not going to try and force an election. He's going to try and find some weasel way out of it. You saw him in the scrums yesterday.
All options are on the table.
All options are on the table. They kept repeating it over and over and over.
Yeah.
So no, I think they'll find some random way to do that, to stave off defeat for just a little bit longer.
Right.
Yeah, I would still say
you'd put your money on Trudeau staying.
Yeah.
Yeah. What about you?
Well, could I just say, Jagmeet reminds me of kind of like Mike Tyson in the Mike Tyson-Jake Paul fight. He was going to go there and kick some butt and ended up having his butt kicked by an internet influencer by the name of Jake Paul. I don't know. If any rational leader towards this point in his career could say he could make an argument about his legacy once he gets past all the normal stuff, would step down. I still think he probably will, but it would not shock me either if he still is of the view that I can win this thing, because he doesn't seem to be listening to anybody beyond a few people who believe in his omnipotent powers to win elections and steal victory from the jaws of defeat.
Okay, be right back. And wrap things up with our Newsday panel today. I'm Rob Snow. This is Now You Know. Here with Tim Powers and Jordan Piquette. This is News Radio.
Critical thinking is not dead.
Now You Know with Rob Snow.
Returns on News Radio.
Back with Tim Powers, chair of Summa Strategies, and also managing director at Abacus Data, and Jordan Piquette, senior consultant at Blue Sky Strategy Group. It's our Newsday panel. So given the events of the last 24 hours, Jordan, what do you think all of this means for the timing of the next federal election? Mr. Blanchette of the Bloc Québécois was there bellowing today, I want an election by the end of January. Mr. Julian of the NDP was on television yesterday saying, well, maybe late February or March. I've always been one to think, well, I think the election's going to be in the spring after the budget, but I wouldn't rule out this minority government going the distance all the way to the third week of October. What do you think all of this means for the timing of the next federal election?
So we absolutely need an election. I agree with Yves Blanchette and what Pierre Poilievre was saying yesterday. I mean, the government has lost all legitimacy, and we need a government with a new mandate to come in and actually work to strengthen trade deals and relationships with the neighbors to the south. But looking at it, I do think now it could actually run the course. The trappings of power are very much there for Trudeau and for Singh, and they're looking at this right now. They know that if they go into an election, they're going to lose, and they're going to lose bad. They'll probably be third and fourth parties respectively. So they will try and hang on as long as they possibly can. And to the detriment of Canadians, that means they could actually go to next fall. Now, if we do start to see some movement in the NDP falling, I would expect that would happen a little bit quicker. But right now, I wouldn't not bet on it if it went the distance.
Tim, what do you think? What does all of this mean?
I think we're getting a prorogation, which will buy some time for the Liberals in their minds to bring calm, put in a new cabinet, come forward with what will this be, their 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th reset, and during that period of time try and find, along what Jordan was saying, some way to potentially cut a deal with the NDP for at least one more budget that gets you to the fall. But a lot of that is going to depend who the leader is. A new leader, if they do have one, may want to just go and get it over with and take advantage of some hype that may come and all of that. So too many variables to make it clear, but I think we're at least, be it through prorogation or something else, on hold till the spring.
On hold till the spring. Okay, so when you say there could be prorogation, because today is the last day, sitting day for the House of Commons. They're calling it quits today, and they're not supposed to be back until the 27th. Right? So you think they might be back later than that?
Yeah, I mean, look, of course, Governor General would have to approve a request, but if I'm Justin Trudeau, I think I'm staying. I probably want to prorogue till the end of March, beginning of April.
Jordan, you think so?
Yeah, that's a very real possibility, and I think increasingly looks likely they'll come back, try and say they have this renewed mandate. It won't work. They'll have completely zero legitimacy, as they pretty much do now in the eyes of Canadians. But I mean, the good news is, coming out of yesterday, if you looked at the Premier's table, they actually put on quite a good show of force. They had a pretty good consistent messaging coming out. They said, okay, you know what? No one's going to lead at the federal level. We'll stand up and lead in our own respective jurisdictions. So, I think we'll see more of that consistently happening. I think it'll be definitely an Ontario election before the federal election, and Doug Ford will use that to capitalize on it.
All right, very interesting. It's going to be a heck of an early new year in 2025. Look, I believe this will probably be our last conversation for this year because David and I are away next week. So I want to wish both of you Merry Christmas, Happy New Year. Enjoy the holiday season with your family and friends. All the best when we talk next year, guys. Thank you.
Same to you guys.
Yep. Speak soon. Bye-bye. Jordan Paquette is Senior Consultant, Blue Sky Strategy Group. He's originally from Prince Edward Island and from Newfoundland and Labrador. Tim Powers, Chair, Summa Strategies Managing Director at Abacus Data. Talk back right after the news on News Radio.
It's time to talk back
on Now You Know with Rob Snow.
Call now
and have your say.
1-833-668-2577.
Welcome to Talk Back. It is 2 hours of debate and discussion on the big issues of the day, and today's topic is the fallout. The fallout from Chrystia Freeland's resignation as Canada's Minister of Finance, what it means for the country, what it means for the future of Justin Trudeau's leadership. So here are some questions to get the conversation going today at 1-833-668-2577, 1-833-668-2577. What is in the national interest? What is in the national interest? I've seen that all over the place in the news media in the last 24 hours. I've read it in newspapers. I've heard it on the cable news talk shows. The national interest, the national interest. Think about the national interest and what is in the national interest. For example, given what is happening in the United States with the incoming Trump administration and the very real threat of an across-the-board 25% tariff on all Canadian exports to the United States, is this in the national interest? Say the status quo? A deeply unpopular prime minister leading an unpopular government supported by another party leader, almost as unpopular, and a prime minister who is clearly not liked by the current president-elect of the United States? Is that in the national interest? Is it in the national interest that the current government just kind of limps along? Maybe until, who knows, late January, February, early March? Maybe even all the way until October of next year? Is that in the national interest? What would you say? Or is a new Liberal leader more in the national interest? Or is an election more in the national interest? An election that might result in a new government and a fresh mandate from the Canadian people? What would you say? What would you say? 1-833-668-2577. We have phone lines open now. 1-833-668-2577. What is in the national interest? Of course, there's another way to look at it. Another way to answer the question, especially if you don't like the idea, say, of a conservative prime minister leading a conservative government after an election. Maybe you think it's in the national interest for the progressives of the country, the Liberals, the Democrats, the Greens, the governors, as long as they can maintain the confidence of the House. Because every single day that those parties are in office is one more day that Pierre Poilievre is not the prime minister of this country. One more day that Pierre Poilievre can't enact whatever agenda he would like to enact if he ever did become prime minister. That's certainly another way to look at things. And if that happens to be your opinion, feel free to share that opinion with us right here, right now. Given everything that happened yesterday, what is in the national interest? What is in the best interest of Canada right now? What would you say? And as well, here's another question that we would like to ask you today. If you were to place a wager on what you think Justin Trudeau is going to do, what would be your bet? Do you think Justin Trudeau is going to stay, or is Justin Trudeau going to go? You think Justin Trudeau is going to resign before the next election? Maybe in the coming days or weeks or months? Do you think he's going to call it a career? Call it a political career? Had a good 9 years, won 3 elections, but I'm out of here. I'm going to go out a winner. Or would you say, nope, that's not the Justin Trudeau I know. He's not built that way. He's a fighter, not a quitter. He's not going to quit. Because Justin Trudeau thinks he can still win. And Justin Trudeau is going to stick around and he is going to lead the Liberal Party into the next election. I don't know what's going to happen. I'd love to know what you think is going to happen. Get out your crystal ball and give us your prediction. Given the events of the last 24 hours, what is in the national interest? What's best for Canada right now? And what do you think Justin Trudeau is going to do? Is Justin Trudeau going to resign? Or is Justin Trudeau going to stay on and fight the next election as leader of the Liberal Party and try to win a 4th term as Prime Minister of Canada? Share your thoughts. 1-833-668-2577. If you've never called before, just mention that to Andrea. And we will make your call a priority. Your calls are coming up next. I'm Rob Snow. It's Talkback on a Tuesday. It was a heck of a Monday. Let's see how the conversation goes on Tuesday. Lots of time to take your calls and hear your opinions. Now that everybody's had a day to sleep on it and think about it. Love to hear from you today. This is News Radio.
Something on your mind you want everyone to know?
Call now.
Hello.
1-833-668-2577.
It's Talkback on Now You Know with Rob Snow.
Given all the events of the last 24 hours, the resignation of Chrystia Freeland as the finance minister, what is in the national interest? What's best for Canada right now? And what do you think Justin Trudeau is going to do? Do you think he's going to resign? Take a walk in the snow, or is he going to stay, fight the next election as the leader of the Liberal Party? 1-833-668-2577. Share your thoughts, please, on Talkback. Rick in Calgary up first today. Hi, Rick.
Good morning. How are you?
I'm good, Rick. Thanks for calling. What is in the national interest right now, Rick?
Certainly not Canadians. Justin Trudeau certainly has never thought that.
Okay.
What happened yesterday was a clear indication of which way we're going. What bothers me, Rob, is that he's going to wait till January 27th to do anything or make any moves. And bad part is Trump's coming in on the 20th.
Yeah, okay.
So that's a week after, and Trump's already made it clear that on his first day, he's going to start putting those tariffs in place, and we're going to have no responsible government in place to do anything about it, to even discuss it with him. So in the national interest, Mr. Trudeau should be going today. Gone. Call an election and let us put a new government in there to deal with it.
Okay.
And then Trump
So
will
you
probably
think he
buy his
should
time.
go, just Rick, just so I can interrupt, just so we're clear. You think he should say, walk across, go see the Governor General, say this Parliament has ended its useful life. Let's have an election. Is that what you think?
Absolutely. Like, the sooner the better.
All right.
He's got to put his narcissistic ego on the shelf.
Okay.
And he's got to think about Canada because we're the ones paying. I mean, look, in the last 3 years, groceries are up over 20%. We're paying for everything. And now Trump's coming in, and I mean, Trump's going to do what he's going to do. And we have to be ready for it. It was great to see the premiers all together in a line yesterday, but it doesn't matter. It's Trump. It's like Trump said this morning. He didn't like Chrystia Freeland anyway, and he says nobody's going to miss her. He has got no respect for Trudeau's government. We need to get Poilievre in there, and because they both have the same slogan, by the way, common sense. So we got to do something to stop this. Otherwise, but for the national interest, that's my comment. For the national interest, Justin Trudeau's got to go.
Let me ask you the second question. What do you think he's going to do? Is he going to resign or stay and fight?
Stay and fight.
You think so?
Oh, he's so narcissistic. No, he's going to stay and fight, and it's going to bring Canada down even more.
Okay.
And that's sad, but reality.
All right, Rick, thank you. Got us off
Thank
and
you.
running here on Talk Back on a Tuesday. Paul in Cambridge. Up next, what's in the national interest, Paul, right now?
You know, I keep saying I'm getting out of politics altogether, but I'm kind of a political junkie. Yesterday, I had the TV on. I had my laptop going. I had 3 different windows open with different videos on there, and another one on my cell phone. And I spent the day going through all this stuff.
You're worse than me.
Anybody who is not following politics closely, should they have watched what went on in the House of Commons yesterday, they would realize that just how much of a dictatorship this whole place is turning into under Justin Trudeau.
Yeah.
Question period. You're supposed to ask a question and get an answer.
Oh, who says that?
Well, that's why it's called question period.
Yeah, it's called question period. It's not called answer period.
Yeah. We've never actually gotten a straight answer from any Liberal.
Right.
But yesterday, it just took it to the extreme. It showed even the corruption in the Speaker when he had ruled that on Monday at 4 p.m., regardless of anything else, he would interrupt the Parliament and we would have the financial report. The Liberals decided it was too much of a risk for them to do that. The members had read this report already, but they were forbidden to say anything about it. Reporters were sitting in lockup. They had read it, but they couldn't release anything on it.
Yeah.
Krista Gould walks in there, slams
So
the
look,
thing
you're doing a
down
great
and walks
recap.
out.
You're doing a great recap, Paul. You should come and work for us, actually. But what I want to get at is what is in the national interest. You know everything that happened yesterday. So what would be good for the country now?
For Trudeau to resign, that would only be a means for the Liberals to try and regroup, reset things, everything. If he prorogues Parliament, has a leadership campaign during that period, what would be best for the country is for today a motion to be put forward saying that they have lost all confidence in the government and force an election right now.
Okay.
Like I say, for Trudeau to resign, we just end up with some other lackey in there.
Okay. Let me ask you this.
Yep.
What do you think Justin Trudeau's going to do? Do you think he's going to think about it over Christmas? Say, I don't know.
As everybody says, he is a narcissist.
Okay.
He somehow actually believes that he can lead the Liberal Party to the next election and win. I would like to see him stay and face an election just to watch him go down in flames.
Do you think that's what he's going to do?
I'm hoping, but I think he's just going to prorogue Parliament, and at the end of that, we'll see what happens, because once Jagmeet's got his pension locked in, it's fair game for everyone. He's not going to worry about the other ones.
Okay. Thank you, Paul. Thank you,
Yep.
sir. Yep. Bye-bye. Next, James in Cambridge. James.
Hi, how are you doing today?
I'm good, James. What is in the national interest? What's best for Canada right now, given everything
It's
that's
the best thing for Canada right now is to reimagine politics.
Okay.
That being said, I think we should transition to being a republic where everybody's voice matters, and everybody's votes can be accounted for via online platform that's tied to your CRA account. So as long as you're up to date on your taxes, you're entitled to vote.
Okay.
And I think that'd be better just because we'll be able to know where our money's going to. We can have it going back to Canadians. But as far as I'm concerned, the way we've been running politics has been like this since the 1800s. I think it's time that we change that.
Okay. I'm not quite following you, but that's probably more on me than you, James. Don't worry about that. What do you think Justin Trudeau is going to do? Do you think he's going to resign, or is he going to stick it out? What do you think?
I think he's, stubborn to a degree.
Okay.
I think he's just going to kind of play it off, and he's going to stick it out as long as possible. That's just my personal take on it.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Maybe all the way till October, when there has to be an election. Could you see that?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. All right. You might be right, James. You might be right. Okay. Thank you. 1-833-668-2577. 1-833-668-2577. Come and join the discussion. The day after the big bombshell day in Ottawa with the resignation of the finance minister, Chrystia Freeland. You have a Liberal government in turmoil. What's in the national interest? What's best for Canada right now? And what do you think Justin Trudeau is going to do? Is he going to resign? Say, that's it, I'm out of here. Or stay and fight the next election as the leader of the Liberal Party? Share your thoughts, please. A couple of lines available there. This is Talkback on News Radio.
Have something on your mind you want everyone to know?
Call now.
Hello.
1-833-668-2577.
It's Talkback on Now You Know with Rob Snow.
We're asking, what is in the national interest, given all the events of the last 24 hours in Canadian politics, the resignation of the finance minister? What is best for Canada right now? And what do you think Justin Trudeau is going to do? Is he going to resign or stay on and fight the next election and try to win a fourth election? Wade in Sylvan Lake. Hi, Wade.
Rob?
Yes.
I would tend to think that the best thing for Canada, as I'm sure everybody knows, is that he should probably call an election today, or maybe we should send the guys in the white coats over there, because I'm pretty sure he's suffering from a mental health condition called narcissistic personality disorder, and that is a mental health condition. It's actually defined as that.
Okay.
And what do I think?
A lot of people keep bringing this up, that he's a narcissist. Okay, I don't know. None of us are, psychiatrists or psychologists. But anyway.
True enough.
Okay.
I would tend to think if you asked Jordan Peterson, he would probably agree, and he is.
Okay. Yeah. Right. All right. Okay. Yeah, I know that's what he thinks. Fair enough. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so what do you think Justin Trudeau's going to do? Do you think he's going to stay or go?
I think he's going to stay, because I honestly believe that he thinks he has a very high sense of his own importance, and he thinks that he's going to, he created all these problems, and now he thinks he's going to swoop in there at the last minute and repair some of these problems, except for his upper echelon are running away from him pretty much as fast as they can, I think. Okay. But I don't think that he'll let that bother.
I would depart on your analysis a little bit by saying I don't think he thinks he created these problems.
True enough.
Okay. Thank you, Wade. Okay, I'm going to move along here. 1-833-668-2577. First-time caller in Calgary, Andrew. Hi, Andrew.
Thanks for having me on.
You're welcome, Andrew. What is in the national interest? What's best for Canada right now?
Well, here's a curious point that what is in the best interest of the NDP? Because we all know that the Liberals are not running the country. The Conservatives are not running the country. It is solely on the NDP that are running the country.
Okay.
Now, further to that, what's going to happen with Justin Trudeau? He is going to go on a walk with Jagmeet Singh in January or February of next year. And Jagmeet is going to say, listen, JT, if you don't if you don't step aside, I'm going to be forced to bury my party, to go into a non-confidence vote to save what I have of credibility.
Okay.
And if you don't step aside, that will happen. If you do step aside, what is exactly good for the NDP is that they will get another leader in the Liberal Party, which will last them until October.
Okay.
That's why there's such a massive deficit with the Liberals. It's because they've had to go with the NDP and hold hands with them for the last 9 years.
Yeah. Well, the NDP would say, and I'm just kind of playing devil's advocate here, the NDP would say, yeah, but we're giving you a school meal program. We're giving you dental care. We're giving you pharmacare. You wouldn't have a GST holiday without us. You might even get $250 in the new year if we have.
And that is why we cannot balance a budget. You're just going to see what happened just the other day in BC when now the Greens, the one Green seat, is going to prop up a whole provincial government because without the one Green seat, that government is toppled. So you think that the government in BC is now going to be acting like the government that was elected? No, they're going to have to cave to who is actually holding the strings to the puppet that is running our country.
All right, Andrew. Thank you. Goodbye. Be back right after the news with more of your calls here on Tuesday's Talkback. The fallout from yesterday's blow-up in Liberal land. This is News Radio.
Have something on your mind you want everyone to know?
Call now.
Hello.
1-833-668-2577.
It's Talk Back on Now You Know with Rob Snow.
A couple of phone lines for you there at 1-833-668-2577. Well, yesterday was quite a day in your nation's capital. We saw the resignation of Chrystia Freeland as the Minister of Finance. We're asking, in light of that, what is in the national interest? What is best for Canada right now? And what do you think Justin Trudeau is going to do? I mean, is Justin Trudeau going to resign, take a walk in the snow, as they say? Or do you think, no, he's going to fight the next election? He'll be the leader of the Liberal Party in the next election. 1-833-668-2577. Right back to the phones we go. Joe in Kitchener. Hi, Joe.
Hi, Rob.
Hi, Joe.
Listen, you know what nobody's talking about right now?
What's that?
The other closet narcissist that can tip the scales and end this all right now.
Okay. Who's
Jagmeet
that?
Singh is not going to support an election if he's at risk of losing his seat and losing his pension. And nobody's calling him out on it.
No, lots of people are calling him out on it. Sure, lots of people are calling him out on it.
Well, okay. It's people on your radio show, but nobody in the media is directly cornering him and asking him, is this because you're waiting till February 25th? Is this because, how about his own cabinet ministers? Where are they? Like, they know what needs to be done.
Well, they're towing the party line. They're towing the party line. Their line is, we're trying to get real help for Canadians while the Liberals fight amongst themselves. And, you know, Poilievre is just a bootlicker for billionaires. You know, we're only thinking about ordinary Canadians. But you're saying nobody's calling him out on it. I mean, this was Jagmeet Singh yesterday came out and, you know, made this statement. And, I mean,
how many times?
Well, listen to this. Let's listen to this. I played this already, but let's play it again here.
Sir, that room behind you is a parliament. The government continues to govern as long as MPs continue to have confidence in the government. You have no say over who the leader of the Liberal Party is. Will you support the government, or are you withdrawing your support from the government?
With respect to that, I've said that all options are on the table. That means everything is possible. But what is clear, given what we have seen, Justin Trudeau and a Liberal government that are focused on themselves, they are infighting at a time when people cannot even do their groceries. They can't even find homes that are affordable.
Right. I mean, all you can do is ask the question, Joe. You can't manufacture the answer that you want to hear.
Rob,
these are politicians,
but
after all, right?
Asking the specific question. How many times did he say? I counted 10, 11 times he said, all options are on the table. What the hell does that mean? Everybody asked him that so many times, and he said, all options are on the table. As soon as he answers the question, all options are on the table. Should I say it 10 times?
Yeah.
So that everybody gets regurgitated again and
I understand this, Joe, but what can we do?
Well,
right?
Somebody's got to call out Jagmeet Singh and say, this is really about your pension, isn't it?
Okay. All right. What do you think Justin Trudeau is going to do?
I think he's going to stay on and take the party down in flames. That's what I'm hoping for.
Okay.
That's the optimistic glasses half full me.
Right.
That's the optimistic.
Yes. You're always such a ray of sunshine, Joe.
Well, I'm just trying to call it how it is.
I know. All right. Thank you for your call today. He thinks he's going to stay on and take the Liberal Party down with him. He's the captain going down with the ship. Frank in Surrey, British Columbia. Hi, Frank.
Hello. How are you, Rob?
I'm good, Frank. Good to hear from you. What is in the national interest right now? It's kind of crazy in Ottawa these days. What's the best for the country?
In Ottawa. Yeah, and I think in the national interest is we have to have a good, solid government which is paying attention to the world and to our relations with the United States. And I just cannot see how it can possibly take place under the current Liberals with all the infighting.
Okay. So what would you like to see happen then?
I think the only way to really deal with it is to have an election. And the only way to have an election is, as your last caller says, is Jagmeet Singh needs to vote non-confidence in the government.
Well, this is the last sitting day for the House of Commons. So it's very unlikely anything is going to happen today. And everything is going to be kind of status quo until late January. Now, the Bloc Québécois leader said the moment we're back, we have to defeat this government. Would you be okay with that?
I'm okay with it, but I would sure prefer it would happen sooner. As
sooner.
The fellow said earlier, that your caller, he said by January 27th, Donald Trump's been in office a week.
That's right.
And who knows what's going to happen?
Who knows? Yeah. Yeah. You would like something to happen, say, before Donald Trump was inaugurated? Before the inauguration?
It would be good because I think at least we would know what our government is. Our government would know who's elected, and they can at least make some plans to deal with that. But right now, nobody's making any plans because there's chaos.
Right. Yeah. So your preference would say maybe within the next day or two, the Prime Minister visits the Governor General. The writs are dropped. There's an election. Maybe the campaign is 30 days, and everything is, say, settled by the 18th, 19th of January in time for the inauguration of Donald Trump.
That would be what's best. And I actually don't think the Prime Minister would choose to do that on his own. I think the only way that will happen is if the majority of Liberal MPs say you have to go and you have to go now.
Okay. Thank you for your call.
Thanks very much.
Yeah,
Rob.
great to hear from you. First-time caller out in Surrey, British Columbia. We'll stop here. And when we come back, take some of your calls. We have heard from some party leaders today. The leader of the Bloc Québécois, Yves-François Blanchet, was taking some questions. He even said a few words in English that we'll play for you. He wants an election tout de suite, as they say. Right away, as soon as we get back. Nothing, he says, is going to happen for the next few weeks, but as soon as we get back, first order of business, election. Justin Trudeau has no mandate. And Pierre Poilievre was in Mississauga. He did an event today in Mississauga, also craving an election, you can imagine, with a 20-point lead in the polls, but we'll let you hear what he had to say as well. And take more of your calls. It's Talkback, after all. 1, 2, 3 lines available. 1-833-668-2577. Have your say. on News Radio.
Have something on your mind you want everyone to know?
Call now.
Hello.
1-833-668-2577.
It's Talk Back on Now You Know with Rob Snow.
So given all the events of the last 24 hours, the resignation of Chrystia Freeland as the finance minister, turmoil in the government, what is in the national interest? What's best for Canada right now? And what do you think Justin Trudeau is going to do? Do you think Justin Trudeau is going to resign? Is he going to stay on? Is he going to fight the next election as the leader of the Liberal Party? 1-833-668-2577. Jamie in Halifax. Thanks for calling. Jamie, you're up next. What's your opinion, Jamie? What's in the national interest, Jamie?
Well, I just look at it like, what has Justin Trudeau done to deserve all the vitriol that's going on? Certainly he has a record, but when you look at that record, you know, he stood by his word on several things. Yes, he has spent money. But we're following the narrative of Pierre Poilievre, who has no solutions to anything. All he is a critic of what Trudeau tries to do.
Well, he's the leader of the opposition, sir. It's his job to oppose the government.
Of course it is, but what's his plan? Like, everybody's going to vote for him, but what's his plan? Is it all axe to tax? What is it? I've been a conservative all my life.
Okay.
And I'm struggling. I don't think I can vote for Pierre Poilievre.
Why is that?
He just has no policy. He's sort of Trump-esque.
Okay.
He scares me, to be honest with you.
Okay. All right. Fair enough.
Put in a lot of cuts, obviously. Conservatives do that. And
the deficit was just released yesterday, sir. $62 billion. The size of the federal government's bureaucracy has grown 40% in 9 years.
And how much of it is due to Jagmeet Singh being...
Jagmeet Singh's not the prime minister.
Of course, but he's not. But
he doesn't appoint the president of the Treasury Board.
Do you think that all these policies, like the dental care plan and all these things, are not Jagmeet Singh?
Okay.
Of course they're not. They're not.
All right.
You know,
all right. But you don't think, do you not think a government that's running, say, a $62 billion budget deficit at a time when there's also record spending on consultants, more people are working for the federal government than at any other time in Canadian history, you don't think that there's anywhere to cut in a government like that?
Of course, there's always cuts, but
I see.
You know, could they have come in at $40 million deficit this year had it not been for the things Jagmeet Singh forced on to the Liberal government?
Okay.
You know,
so you're more. You sound more inclined to blame everyone except the person who has been prime minister for the last 9+ years, Mike.
Well, you got to understand the pressure that he's under to keep the government in power. He's had to make these sacrifices to do it. So who do you vote for, I guess, is the question.
Okay. What do you think is in the national interest? Let's circle back here. Well, what do you think is in the best interest of Canada right
I'd like
now?
to see Trudeau stay.
I mean, you seem to have more faith. You seem to have more faith in Justin Trudeau than Chrystia Freeland does.
And, you know, 2 years ago, I'd be saying get rid of Liberals of any stripe, you know. Just not feeling that at this election
Not feeling
time.
it. Okay, interesting.
You know, if he come out and said, okay, axe a tax, fine, axe a carbon tax, but what's he going to do in its replacement?
Why does there need to be a replacement?
Well, it don't have to be a tax, but he should have a plan if we want to exist in this world in 50 years, perhaps.
Okay.
You know?
So climate change is a big issue for you, then. Fair enough.
Well,
Fair enough.
It's an issue for all of us. It should be.
Okay. Do you think Justin Trudeau's going to stay or go?
I'd like to see him stay.
You would. Okay, Mike, thank you. Mike in Halifax, probably the minority opinion today. Fair opinion. But the minority opinion, I think. Simone in Calgary. Simone.
Hi.
Hi, Simone.
How are you?
I'm good. What do you think is in the best interest of Canada right now? The national interest?
My thought is that none of these governments are in the best interest of Canada. Trudeau is the longer he stays in power, it's the more that we become like under this like Castro or this globalist type government.
Okay.
And it's a threat to our democracy.
There's going to be an election eventually, whether it's later this month, next month, in a few months, or October.
non-confidence votes, and he's still there. So,
the votes have to pass.
The government, the federal government is totally corrupt. Like, these politicians are corrupt. Justin Trudeau made millions off of Canadians during the pandemic, and his Liberal Party. All of these.
Well, I don't know if Justin Trudeau made millions off the pandemic.
Politicians have been basically making all this money off of Canadians while Canadians are suffering. We're paying astronomical amounts in taxes. He's threatening pensions. He's threatening to take the equity out of our homes. He's threatening all these things. He's creating sanctuary cities in Montreal, Toronto, and Ottawa.
Okay, there's no sanctuary cities.
Cartels are coming in here. Sexual offenders are coming in here. There's been home invasions.
All right.
Not far from.
I just can't fact check you in real time, Simone. So I think we're going to have to stop there. Be right back. Mike, you hang on the line. Sean in Calgary. I wouldn't know where to begin with the last caller. Sorry. Just too much. This is News Radio.
Have something on your mind you want everyone to know?
Call now.
Hello.
1-833-668-2577.
It's Talk Back on Now You Know with Rob Snow.
So let's stay focused on the questions here. What is best for Canada right now? There's a lot of turmoil here in the nation's capital right now. What is in the national interest right now? We're down a finance minister, down a housing minister. The future of the government is in doubt. And do you think Justin Trudeau is going to resign, or is he going to stay on and fight the next election as the leader of the Liberal Party? 1-833-668-2577. Mike in Halifax. Hi, Mike.
Bonjour, monsieur.
Hello, Mike. Yeah, good to hear from you.
Yes, you too, buddy. Listen, I know you want a direct answer to that, and unfortunately, I just got to talk about Singh for 1 second.
Sure thing. Yeah.
I think it's absolutely brilliant what he's doing.
Okay.
So he's saying that what should happen is the Liberal executive or upper class should get Justin talked into resigning and stepping aside.
Right.
Well, that would work good for for Singh, because then he doesn't look like he's propping up Trudeau anymore. He can say, well, let's see what the new leader can do and maybe drag it out to the fall, but it doesn't look like he's propping up the Liberal government.
Right.
So he can glide into his pension at the end of February without anybody pointing fingers at him.
I see. Okay, very interesting. What do you think Justin Trudeau's going to do?
I just can't imagine any other answer other than this guy. He's so arrogant. Like, that smirk he puts on his face, like, it's just unbelievable how much he loves himself.
Okay.
I mean, I don't think there's people, say that they love themselves, but nobody like Justin. I saw a clip years ago where it showed him at a party, and he was talking to a girl, and he, if I'm not mistaken, he actually made the comment, "I'm like a god."
I don't know that clip. I haven't seen it.
It was like a number of years back, but I thought, this guy really thinks he's the beginning.
So you don't
and the
see
end.
him as someone who's going to step down or resign or...
You know what? I think he would have done it by now with all the losses that the Liberals have taken in side elections and...
Yeah, by-elections. 3 in a row now. And the one they lost last night out in British Columbia, they held that riding. The Liberal in the last election, now it's flipped back and forth a few times, but the Liberal won that by 1,500 votes the last time, which is a pretty solid margin of victory. And last night, they got barely 15% of the vote, and the Conservative candidate one was 66% of the vote.
Yeah. Well, and I mean, look at here in Nova Scotia, the NDP is now the power second in control.
The opposition provincially. Yeah.
So, I mean, if this guy doesn't see all the writing on the wall. I mean, all the press is talking about it, all the
Right.
Canadian people.
Okay.
Like, I just don't see this guy throwing in the towel.
Okay, Mike. Thank you. Got to run. Taking another call before the top of the hour news and wrap up hour number one of Talkback today. Sean out in Calgary. Hi, Sean.
Hey, Rob, we're running out of time, so I'm going to be quick.
Okay.
My main comment is if any of these so-called leaders, and I use that term quite loosely at this point,
Okay.
cared about our country, it's not time for a 6-week holiday. Like, it's let's get this solved. Our country is in such turmoil.
Okay.
And they're like, no, heck with you guys.
What do you think getting
We're
it
going on
solved
holiday.
looks like? What does getting it solved look like? Having an election,
Well,
getting a government in there with a new mandate, something like that?
100%, a completely new mandate.
Okay.
One that is for the people rather than for the parties.
Okay, what do you think Justin Trudeau's going to do?
Oh, he's going to hang on with every ounce of strength that he has, just to continue screwing us. It's he's done it for 9 years, and it's not going to end.
All right, Sean. Thank you. Yeah, you fit it in there in the tight time frame that we had. I appreciate your call. So that's hour number one. Boy, it flew by. We'll pick things up right after the latest breaking news. More of Talkback on the way the day after. This is News Radio.
It's time to talk back.
On Now You Know with Rob Snow.
Call now.
And have your say.
1-833-668-2577.
Given all the events of the last 24 hours, the resignation of Chrystia Freeland as the finance minister, we have been asking, what do you think is in the national interest? What's best for Canada right now? And what do you think Justin Trudeau is going to do? Do you think he's going to resign? Do you think he's going to stay on? Is he going to fight the next election as the leader of the Liberal Party? We have heard from some political party leaders today. Pierre Poilievre in Mississauga, and he wants an election as soon as possible. This is Pierre Poilievre, Mississauga, just an hour and a half ago.
Yesterday, we were reminded that if you hire clowns, you get a circus. But no one should be laughing, because there are real consequences for yesterday's chaotic liberal clown show. These are the consequences. The deficit is 50% higher than we were promised. Our dollar has plunged below 70 cents American for the first time in ages, which means more expensive fuel, food, clothing, and materials for things like automobiles. It means our people will be poorer and the dollars they work so hard to earn are worth less. The real consequences of yesterday's clown show are playing out in tragedies right across this country.
Okay. The dollar is down. It hasn't plunged. It's down 0.5% today. It's down 33 basis points right now. It is back below 70 cents U.S., however, psychologically important level, I guess you could say. 70 cents. Oh, my gosh. Are you telling me we have a 69-cent dollar again, Rob? Yes, I am. 69.90 cents U.S. is the latest trade on the Canadian dollar. The inflation rate came out today, though. It was 1.9%. Yves-François Blanchet, the leader of the Bloc Québécois, is itching for an election because he thinks the conditions are right for the Bloc Québécois to win official opposition status, I think, in the House of Commons in the next election, given the weakness of the New Democrats and the Liberals right now. But he doesn't think anything's going to happen for a couple of weeks. When the House gets back in late January, there needs to be an election because Mr. Trudeau has no mandate from the people.
Why do you think that what you're saying right now will change his mind, that calling an election by the end of January 2025, why do you think that will appeal to Mr. Trudeau when nothing else seems to have?
I'm not certain that what I say appeals very much to Mr. Trudeau. My job is to say what I believe should be done, and I believe that if he wants to stay where he is now, he needs a mandate. and he does not have one as we speak. The only way for him to get that is to call for an election as soon as possible, because it would be absolutely irresponsible from him to maintain Canada in such an unstable situation for that many months still. If he wants to keep doing the job he does, he's got to go into election.
Got to be an election. Got to be an election. Although he admitted there wouldn't be an election for a few weeks, but late January, let's have an election, according to the Bloc leader. Sean in Cambridge, thanks for waiting. Sean, you're on the air. What's best for Canada right now?
I think what will be best for Canada is for Prime Minister Trudeau to resign and for the Liberal Party to have a leadership convention immediately.
Okay.
And then give the new leader enough time to get their feet under them and then have an election. I've always been a conservative, but I really do not like Pierre Poilievre. I do not like the tone of the man. I do not like the cut of his jib, whatever.
Okay.
I do not like his tenor. He's too negative. He's too confrontational. I just don't like him.
Okay.
I really think we need some choices. As much as it pains me, I think we do need a strong Liberal Party. I think Justin Trudeau really needs to go and let somebody else have a kick at the can.
Okay. That's what you would like to see. What do you think we're going to see? What do you think Justin Trudeau is going to do?
I think Justin Trudeau is a very arrogant person.
Okay.
He thinks he is God's gift to Canada, and I don't think he can see a way forward without him. And he just thinks everybody else is not smart enough to understand what he's doing, quite frankly. I think the arrogance in this individual is incredible, and I just don't see him unless he's going to have to be dragged kicking and screaming from the Prime Minister's office, quite frankly.
Okay. You don't see him resigning?
I do not.
Okay.
I think he's far too arrogant, and he's too happy with himself.
All right. Thank you, Sean. Good call. Good call. Interesting. Eric in Halifax. Thanks for calling, Eric. You're on the air.
Yeah. Merry Christmas to you.
Yeah, same to you, Eric. Thank you.
Well, the way I see it, I don't really care.
You don't care?
It doesn't bother me.
Why doesn't it bother you?
In Canada.
You like having a 69-cent dollar?
As far as crime goes, 9 years ago they put the man in. 9 years later they want to hang him. I mean, give him 9 more months. Give the people a chance to vote him out. And then down the road they'll be crying again. Oh, we put this guy in. Oh, we put that girl in. I mean, we cannot be satisfied. There's no such thing as the perfect prime minister. There's no such thing as the perfect man. There was a perfect man at one time, and you know what happened to him. They hung him on a cross.
Yeah, sure, Eric. Okay. Now, let me ask you, what do you think Justin Trudeau's going to do?
I think he's going to wait it out. I mean, he's going to find out who his true friends are. I mean, I'm only one of millions of Canadians.
Right.
Okay? And he's going to find out one way or the other. He's going to go down with a fight. I mean, look at what you got out there who might take over. There's not much to choose from. It's like looking for a needle in a haystack. Okay. I mean, you told me last week that I'm modest. Well, I don't really care one way or the other. I'm not going to change the world with what I say, and I think mostly Canadians are not going to change the world. They're going to put up with it, and when the time comes, they'll vote her or him out. And then down the road, they'll be crying again, oh, you ruined Canada. Oh, you ruined Canada. And we cannot be satisfied. That's all I have to say on that.
All right,
I don't know
you have said it. Eric, thank you. Got to run. Thank you. We will stop here. Be right back. I'm Rob Snow. It's Talkback, hour number 2. Talking federal politics again today, the day after the frenzy on Parliament Hill. What's best for Canada right now? You have Donald Trump trolling Trudeau, trolling Freeland, threatening Canada with tariffs. The Prime Minister loses one of his closest political allies in Chrystia Freeland, who's firing grenades on the way out the door. And what is Justin Trudeau going to do? Is he going to pack it in, or is he going to stay on and fight? Share your thoughts on Talkback on News Radio.
Have something on your mind you want everyone to know?
Call now.
Hello.
1-833-668-2577.
It's Talk Back on Now You Know with Rob Snow.
And all the political uncertainty right now and the threat posed by the Trump tariffs, what is in the best interest of Canada right now? What's best for Canada right now? And what do you think Justin Trudeau is going to do? Is he going to quit or is he going to stick it out? Craig in Calgary up next. Craig. Hi there, Craig.
Hey, Rob. Thanks for taking my call.
You're welcome.
Yeah, you got two things. What's best for Canada and what do you think Trudeau's going to do? Well, Trudeau won't go. He's too much of a narcissist. He's too much hanging on to control of power. Whenever it happens in the next week or two or three, or when the regular election comes up, he's going to hang on to the bitter end. The number two thing you said about what's best for Canada, I think once we get he gets voted out, we get Pierre Poilievre in, we're going to get rid of finally, and no one's talked too much about that left that's gone too far left with the woke and the DEI agenda, and this gagging the media and such like that. It's just gone way too far left. I think people are fed up with it. Other countries are coming back to center in these issues. It's just cost too much. It's just wasted time, and it's gone nowhere. I can't wait for that whole ball of wax right there to come back to center and get rid of all that. So that's not going to be the Liberals to do that.
All right. Thank you, Craig, for having your say. Good to hear from you today. Moving along, line 4 is Danvir. Danvir, hi there.
Hi.
Hi. Good to hear from you, Danvir. What do you think is in the best interest of Canada right now?
Oh, it's pretty messed up out there, so
that's about the most honest thing I've heard today, Danvir. Oh my gosh, thank you so much for saying that. Yeah. Okay.
So what's the what exactly you mean? Like if you have to pinpoint, right? What's the best interest? It's a very general term.
Well, should there be an election? Should Justin Trudeau resign and there be say a leadership race in the Liberal Party? What do you think?
There's difference between should and what actually happens. So, Justin Trudeau should have resigned far earlier in the game.
Okay.
So it's already too late.
It's too late.
And when you say one thing, you always say, "Is he going to stay in the fight?" I think that's the wrong terminology. It's not even staying in the fight. It's more like clinging to power.
Clinging to power. Okay. All right.
Right. So that.
Okay. Well, let me rephrase it. Do you think Justin Trudeau is going to try and cling to power?
Oh, I don't know about that because it seems like a revolt happening in the party, right? So when Chrystia Freeland is going, a lot of people are still saying she's French. So I don't know what's happening. It's probably going to show up in a few days. So we'll see.
You think there might be more to the story, that more people might come out and voice their opposition to Trudeau, that there could be a snowball effect, an avalanche of opposition within the Liberals to Trudeau? Do you think that could happen, Danvir?
Yeah, that could happen.
Okay.
And the other thing about Freeland, when she's leaving, saying that it's gimmicks, right?
Yeah.
But when Freeland came in as a finance minister, it was Bill Morneau who was against giving some more funds in pandemic. But Freeland went ahead with Justin Trudeau's policies and kept on doing that. And in the end, now only she came forward to say that, it's enough, right? But it's already too late, even with Freeland. She's given a lot of free money all these years, right?
Okay. So what do you think was the breaking point there? Do you think it was kind of the open criticism of Chrystia Freeland? Oh, she's not communicating our message well. We're thinking about bringing somebody else in, and
it could be because it's because so many economists were against what she was. What's happening, right? And so it's getting into the election in less than a year and with a bad reputation. That would have been really bad, right?
Yeah. There's probably she's probably thinking, if I'm going to run to be the leader of the Liberal Party, maybe best to disassociate myself with this guy right now.
Yeah,
as best I can, even though I've basically been attached to the political hip of him for the better part of 11 years.
Yeah, whatever, right?
11 years. 2013. Okay, Denver, thank you. Thank you. We better stop. We better stop because we're a little tight on time here. If you're on the line, hang on the line. Get your call before the bottom hour news. I'm Rob Snow. It's Talk Back on a Tuesday. Federal politics again is the Talk Back topic, and I'd love to hear from you. This is News Radio.
Have something on your mind you want everyone to know?
Call now.
Hello.
1-833-668-2577.
It's Talk Back on Now You Know with Rob
So I can
Snow.
promise you this is the last time we will do this year. Go to the House of Commons for a little bit of question period. One question, one answer. So asking the question, Pierre Poilievre is not in question period today. It is Andrew Scheer, the former leader of the Conservative Party. He is the opposition House leader now. And answering the question is the Omni Minister, the Minister of Everything, Dominic LeBlanc, who replaced Chrystia Freeland yesterday as the Minister of Finance.
Mess. Yesterday was a gong show at the bottom of a dumpster fire, wrapped up in a cluster. The finance minister resigns, the prime minister hides all day, and then has to beg his MPs not to fire him. But the worst news, buried underneath it all, was a devastating gut punch to Canadian taxpayers. A $62 billion deficit smashing through the already insane $40 billion guardrail. Canada is a serious G7 NATO partner staring down the threat of 25% tariffs. We deserve a strong leader with a new mandate. Why not let Canadians decide by calling a carbon tax election?
The Honourable Minister of Finance and Public Safety.
Mr. Speaker, I want to start by thanking the Opposition House Leader for his heartfelt congratulations on my new role. I want to tell him, Mr. Speaker, and all Canadians, that our government is very proud of the fall economic statement that we made public yesterday. Mr. Speaker, the fall economic statement speaks to growth in the Canadian economy. It speaks to supporting Canadians with serious affordability challenges. It speaks to a declining debt to GDP ratio, the best in the G7. And Mr. Speaker, we haven't finished supporting Canadians, something the Conservatives aren't interested in doing.
Okay. That's it. Final question period of the year in the House of Commons. Maybe for some of you it can't end soon enough. Kyle in Listowel. Kyle, hi there.
Well, that sold me. I think that the Trudeau government, I think Trudeau should now not resign and just stay until October. I mean, what they just said, I mean, no, seriously though, like I thought last night, when Chrystia Freeland resigned, I thought Trudeau was going to resign. And then once I saw his speech during that Liberal
fundraiser
get-together,
yep,
with it made
all the big
sense to me that
donors.
He's not going to leave. And what was there, maybe 20 people in there? Didn't sound like a big crowd. But no, I don't think he's going to leave. I think he's going to stay. I think he's going to stay till October. That's how Trudeau is, unless Jagmeet decides to have a election in January or February, whenever his pension comes up. But I mean, honestly, if people are screaming for Trudeau to leave and he's still in there, what does that say? He's not for Canada. He's not for Canadians. He's not for running this country the way we wanted the country to be run. He's in it for himself, and it's time for Trudeau to go. It's been for Trudeau to go a long time ago, and it just shows that it's his ego that's put in front of him, not Canadians and not us taxpayers. So I think that for the best interest of Canada, do not resign. Go down with the sinking ship.
Okay.
Don't let any other leader come in to go the way it should have been done and gone. Thank you very
Kyle.
much, Rob.
Thank you.
Yep.
Thank you.
Yep.
It is, by the way, in case you're wondering, when does Jagmeet Singh officially qualify for his pension? 6 years of service, which would be the 25th of February, 2025. In case you're wondering, that is the exact date. Dave in Calgary. Dave, thanks for calling. Dave, hi there.
Hi there.
Hi, Dave. What's in the best interest of Canada right now, given everything?
I think what's in the best interest of Canada right now is doing what the Trudeau government said they were going to do, which was get rid of first past the post. I think you have a lot of frustrated callers right now.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, I think you have a lot of frustrated callers right now that are saying two things. One, it's going Liberal to Conservative and back and forth.
Okay.
And you have a lot of people who are saying that they don't see the vision in Trudeau and they don't see the vision in Poilievre. We are making this too much about an individual as a leader of the party rather than a government, like you said. It's a government, not a person. So I think we should get rid of first past the post, have people actually come out and vote for who they want to have in party, and let the Canadians speak for themselves.
Okay, what do you think Justin Trudeau is going to do?
I mean, that's a very obviously good question, but I think Freeland resigning is the final straw for him, where he's got to kind of reflect and say he's got to resign. I don't think he's going to call an election, but I do think he's going to go down the road of resigning
and triggering a Liberal leadership race.
Yeah.
All right, Dave. Thank you.
No problem.
Stuck you in there before the news. Back right after the news. The latest breaking news today is coming up next on News Radio.
Have something on your mind you want everyone to know?
Call now.
Hello.
1-833-668-2577.
It's Talk Back on Now You Know with Rob Snow.
So given all the events of the last 24 hours, all the uncertainty surrounding the Trudeau government right now, Mr. Trudeau's future, the resignation of the finance minister, the quick swearing in of a new finance minister, what is in the national interest? What's best for Canada right now? And what do you think Justin Trudeau is going to do? Is he going to resign? Is he going to stay and fight the next election as the leader of the Liberal Party? Or as one of our callers said, is he going to cling to power? Which may be a bit a more accurate way to put it. Larry's a first-time caller in Kitchener. Hi, Larry. Hi, Larry. Oh, I don't think Larry's there. Let's move along. Maureen in Calgary. Hi, Maureen.
Hi.
Hi, Maureen.
Hi, how are you?
I'm good, Maureen. What is in the best interest of the country right now, given everything that's
I think
going on?
wait till Trump and his goons get in.
Okay.
See what they're going to do.
Okay.
I don't think Trudeau should resign, and I'm not a Trudeau fan.
Okay.
But I think it's way too early, and I think the other parties are going to have to get their, everything together before they try to do anything in February or whatever.
Okay.
I think they really have to take a long look at that.
Okay.
But what I see is food prices and, rent prices. It's still awful.
Yes.
And with Trump and his minions coming in, and we don't know what he's going to do with the 25%, I just think it's too volatile at the moment. Just let things settle a bit and take care of your Canadians.
Okay. What do you think Justin Trudeau is going to do?
I think he's going to hang on because he'll want to go to the inauguration of his buddy Trump.
Okay.
And he'll just see if he can coast. But, I mean, it's up to his caucus to figure something out. And who's going to replace him? I mean, I don't see a very good lineup that I would want to
There are lots of people who would love to have the job.
Oh, I'm sure they would.
Right. The names are out there. Okay, Melanie Joly, Chrystia Freeland,
right.
Anita Anand, Francois Philippe Champagne. Not Sean Fraser anymore. He says he's leaving federal politics. And then there's the evergreen Mark Carney. There's your Liberal leadership race.
Yeah, I think I'd have to really read up on them because I don't know. I loved Question Period, by the way. That was the best laugh of the day I've had. so
all right.
Trudeau's hanging on to the dumpster fire, and, I don't know how he's going to put it out.
Okay. Well, isn't that it? Thank you, Maureen. That's why we're all looking. We're like rubberneckers driving by a car accident, Maureen. That's what it is here. Okay. Thank you, Maureen. Merry Christmas to you as well. Dan in Red Deer, Alberta. Dan, hi there.
Hi, Rob. To me, the only path forward is an election as fast as humanly possible.
Okay.
We every day that this Liberal government is power is more billions of dollars in debt and is just crushing our economy. And it's not just Justin Trudeau, like him resigning is not going to do anything. We don't blow $20 billion over budget just by Justin Trudeau himself. It's complete liberal policies. They don't know how to not spend money. And on that note as well, to me, there's only one person to blame for this whole mess that we're in, and that's Jagmeet Singh. He's kept this government in power, and this is the result. It's a complete mess, and he's to blame.
Okay, what do you think Mr. Trudeau's going to do?
He won't resign.
He won't resign. This seems to be the consensus opinion that he's going to stick it out to the bitter end. Whenever that is.
How many times in the last 5 years that we've talked about, is he going to resign? He never does. He never will.
All right. Thank you, Dan. Good to hear from you, sir. Yep. 1-833-668-2577. I believe we have Larry back from Kitchener. Hi, Larry.
Yes, hi. Sorry about that last
That's
call.
okay,
I just
Larry.
Didn't hear anything.
That's okay, Larry. Happens all the time. What's best for Canada right now?
I'd like to make a comment here, and that is that I think worldwide, I don't think there are very many countries that have stable governments in them. So this thing here, and I like the caller, I think it was the seventh caller back, where he says, well, we vote him in, and then we want him out.
That was
totally
Eric,
agree with that. And then you touched on pensions, which is another thing that, you put someone in, you got to pay him a pension that once we kick him out. On the other hand,
after 6 years, they qualify for a pension. 6 years.
Oh, I thought they got it right away.
No, they have to serve 6 years. So they have to, say, win one term and then serve, say, half of another term, and then they'll get an MP's pension, a base MP's pension, which I think is about, these days, I think it's about $47,000 or something.
Well, that's not so bad then. It's not as bad as I was thinking. So the other thing here is, I think as cocky as Trudeau is, Trump needs someone to face him with all the threats that Trump has been throwing at us. And I think the ideal person to do that would be Trudeau. So I think Trudeau should hang in.
Okay.
And Trudeau should challenge Trump and do the best he can for the country here. Now, the other thing, too, I'd like to make is we keep blaming our situation at the politicians. The world is in a mess. I know that I just came back from Europe, and over there they're having major issues with food prices. They're having major issues with housing. So it's not just here, but we keep throwing that at our politicians, even though the whole world is facing the same thing. So that's my point.
But that doesn't mean you have to keep repeating, the same mistakes again, or that another government wouldn't do a better job than the previous government before it, Larry. Right?
Mm-hmm. So I think Trudeau is going to hang in, and I think he's looking forward to the challenge with Trump as well.
Oh yeah, and I think he's licking his chops to fight Poilievre too.
Mm-hmm.
I think one of the things, I'll just say this to conclude our conversation. I think one of the things that motivates Justin Trudeau right now is that every day he is prime minister is one day that Pierre Poilievre is not prime minister. Yeah, I think
I'm not a fan of him either.
Okay,
so.
Thank you. We'll be right back. Yes, we'll stop here. Kevin, Tom, Gabriel, hang on the line. If you're on the line, you're on the air before the top of the hour. I'm Rob Snow. This is News Radio.
Have something on your mind you want everyone to know?
Call now.
Hello.
1-833-668-2577.
It's Talk Back on Now You Know with Rob Snow.
Again, what's best for Canada right now? What is in the national interest, given all the turmoil in the Liberal government in Ottawa? And what do you think Justin Trudeau is going to do? Do you think he's going to resign? Is he going to hang in there until the very last moment, the election? He's going to fight and try to win a fourth election. Hasn't been done since Wilfrid Laurier win 4 consecutive elections. Tom in Cambridge. Hi, Tom.
How you doing?
I'm good, Tom. Yeah, busy today.
Well, I've been listening to some of your callers, and I was sort of going to say something, but I really do think it's probably the best interest in Canada right now. And no one's going to like it, but I think let's just wait till after Trump's inauguration. Justin wants to stay on until after the inauguration and see what happens after that. Then, let him. And no, I also believe that he'll probably figure this out for himself and realize that he may not be able to win another election. So he will call a convention or, resign, and they'll have the convention, and we'll go from there. But I think sometimes we got to stop overreacting to certain things. Best thing for Canada is not to undersell itself either. We have a tendency to sell ourselves low and then we buy back high, and it hasn't worked out for the best of us.
That's interesting. What do you think Justin Trudeau's going to do?
I think he's going to sit back. He's going to hang, if you want to use the term, hang in there and everything else. But he will, and I think I like your analogy. The longer each day he is in power is one less day that Paul Review is not, and which is eating him up dramatically. Like, he can't get any more dramatic than he was yesterday or today, even with these talks and everything else. And that's probably it. That's being spiteful. That's great, but for best of candidates, we have to quit worrying about.
Justin Trudeau feels he's protecting Canada and Canadians from Pierre Poilievre.
Yeah, well, and I think a conservative majority would really hurt us. It really would. I think a conservative minority, but I don't like the idea that they're floating around the idea that the NDPs and the Liberals actually do form a coalition government, which I don't think that's right. I think there's the electrical reform is one issue. I think one of your callers talked about. We really have to start having people vote who they want to vote for, not just a person or the party, but geez, because I don't care. Americans can laugh at us as much as we can laugh at Americans. Trump's over there and he did get what he wanted from the judge in New York about his hush money case there. So he's probably a little mad about that, but we've got to worry about our own stuff here. And we have enough problems on our doorsteps where, we got to start getting along as ourselves. And unfortunately, Quebec will always put Quebec first instead of Canada. Alberta will put Alberta first. And that's where part of the problem stems from as well. There's no, from that standpoint. But then again, if you rough with us too much, we stand up for each other. So, there we go.
Okay, Tom. Thank you. I guess I would just say to that. It's been said in the past that any prime minister has two jobs. One of them is to keep the country together. National unity. Big country, very diverse country, and that's no easy task. But that's job number one, is to keep the country together. And the other job of any prime minister of any political stripe is to maintain friendly relations with the United States, because it's the superpower right next door, and strong ties with the United States. That's key to Canada's prosperity. And on the first job, national unity, you think about where things stand right now. How is Mr. Trudeau doing? They're very angry in the West. The premiers of both Alberta and Saskatchewan want him to call an election. So does the premier of Quebec. In Quebec, the separatists are on the rise, promising another referendum. Things are not going well on the national unity front. And on the second job, maintaining friendly relations with the United States. Whether we like it or not, Donald Trump is going to be the next president of the United States. And it has to be obvious to everyone right now, Donald Trump does not like Justin Trudeau. He doesn't respect Justin Trudeau. He openly mocks Justin Trudeau. And I guess he doesn't like Chrystia Freeland very much either. He's not dumping on the leader of Mexico, but he is going after Trudeau relentlessly. Not a good thing. Not a good thing. Status quo, not ideal. And whether we like it or not, Trump has a mandate. America first. Super duper majority. White House, House of Representatives, Senate, Supreme Court. He's in charge. And he will be the person that Canada needs to deal with, whether we like it or not. He has the mandate. A second term that is just beginning. All the polls would suggest Mr. Trudeau's mandate is coming to an end. And that if the election was today, people would be more than happy to show Mr. Trudeau and the Liberals the door. So, what is in the best interest of the country? Is it in the best interest of the country to have a deeply unpopular prime minister trying to do a deal and negotiate with Donald Trump? Or would it be better to have a new government with a fresh mandate from the Canadian people to deal with the new Trump administration? Who knows? Maybe that's a Liberal government if there's an election with a new leader. More likely, it's a Conservative government, no matter who the leader of the Liberal Party happens to be. But the analysis would say it would be better, it would be preferable if Donald Trump and his people were dealing with someone other than Justin Trudeau. If Canada is to have any hope of avoiding the worst that could come with these tariffs. 1-833-668-2577. This is News Radio.
Have something on your mind you want everyone to know?
Call now.
Hello.
1-833-668-2577.
It's Talk Back on Now You Know with Rob Snow.
Gabriel in Calgary. Hi there, Gabriel. Thanks for waiting.
Hey, Rob, how you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
Oh, stressful stuff, man.
Oh God, don't sweat the small stuff. Okay, it's only the future of Canada, Gabriel.
I know, right? Like our country's economy is bleeding badly with this guy at the helm. The easy way to really handle it is, in my view, is just give something that Jagmeet needs to leave. So he can trigger the election. Why don't you just pay out his pension and get rid of him, and then we can get the election going.
I was just pointing out to David that I can't believe this. There's a GoFundMe fundraiser, and people are fundraising to try and raise $2.3 million so that Mr. Singh will take his pension early so that there can be an election. And it's like people have actually donated money to this thing. It's raised $863. My gosh, why don't do that, people? Give your money to the Cancer Association or the Heart and Stroke Foundation or the United Way. Don't donate to that silly stuff.
I know it sounds bad, but you know what? It would save us so much money and pain in the process, of this whole thing. If you just get rid of this, promise this guy this thing, trigger the election, get Pierre in there, and he can't fix everything. We're really in trouble right now.
So you think there should be an election sooner rather than later? What do you think Justin Trudeau is going to do? You think he's going to stay or go?
He's going to stay as long as he can, even in the end, even if they try to get him out on the next election, he could trigger an emergency situation to hang on to power. I mean, this guy, he can do anything he wants to at this point. So, take care of this thing early and then get rid of the problem, and hopefully we can get this country back onto where it needs to go.
All right, Gabriel. Thank you. Thank you. Great to hear from you today. Great to hear from all of our callers. I think Justin Trudeau thinks he should stay because he and he alone can defeat Pierre Poilievre. I think he is probably looking at his cabinet ministers and certainly the rest of his caucus and saying, who are you people? You're not me. Melanie Joly, Chrystia Freeland, Francois-Philippe Champagne, Anita Anand. Who are you? None of you are Justin Trudeau. You don't have my last name. And none of you beat Stephen Harper and then beat Andrew Scheer and then beat Aaron O'Toole. And then beat Jagmeet Singh twice, beat Tom Mulcair. Justin Trudeau, for my left of center friends, is probably the Liberals' last best hope. And I think he thinks that's why he should hang in there for as long as it takes, even if there's no election until October of next year. Because every day, as I said, that Justin Trudeau is prime minister is one more day that Pierre Poilievre is not the prime minister. And Justin Trudeau thinks he's doing God's work by staying in office. Maybe that works. Chances are it backfires. And instead, the Liberal Party is left in ruins. The longer the Liberals wait to rip off the Band-Aid and get rid of Trudeau, the worse their fate is going to be. The worse it's going to be for them in the long run. And the Liberal Party could face the same situation that other Liberal parties across the country are facing, which is basically political irrelevance. Like the Liberal Party of Ontario and the Liberal Party of Quebec, and there is no Liberal Party in BC anymore. The idea of a Liberal Party on the prairies is a joke, and the Liberal Party in Nova Scotia doesn't even have official party status. Trudeau is betting he can win a 30-day election campaign against Pierre Poilievre, that he can make people fall in love with him again. But this ain't 2015. He's not shiny. He's not brand new. He's not the man leading the Liberals back to the promised land. He has become the man who is burning the furniture to heat the house. I'm Rob Snow. Back tomorrow. The latest breaking news coming up next. This is News Radio.